WOUB.
Now at 6:30, chaos in the Middle East after Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Dozens are dead, including some of Iran's top military officials, and hundreds are injured. The latest on Iran's response.
Plus,
police do policing. Military for the battlefield.
The legal back and forth over Trump's deployment of the National Guard continues. This as protests against immigration raids spread across the country.
And Trump's massive military parade celebrating the Army's anniversary just around the corner.
They will be met with very big force.
Why the president is warning protesters to stay away. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Abigail Semple.
And I'm Courtney Smith. Welcome to Newswatch.
We have a lot of stories to get to tonight, but first, let's turn to our forecaster, Steve Nedlick, with the weather.
Yeah, guys, we had a pretty pleasant day today, all things considered, but not quite as nice as yesterday, as we peaked around 83, 85 degrees. But it's that humidity, 57%, that really kind of made it a little uncomfortable compared to yesterday. We didn't have quite as many clouds, but right now we do have clear skies. And that's because this front has kind of moved in and brought with it this cloud cover that's going to be in and out. But right now we have a little bit of break in those clouds, and it's going to start bringing in some of this moisture from down south. So we'll be watching that closely. Now, again, it's also bringing with it some rain. There are some thunderstorms out to our west, but they're breaking up before they really get to us. So we're just going to see some scattered showers for the most part until we get to tonight. And that's when a lot of the widespread is going to show up. And we're going to cool off a little bit because that rain is going to evaporate into the air and cool off some of our air. And now as we look into tomorrow, again, not quite as warm because of a lot of that rain. And those clouds are going to be in the area with a little bit of rain. So there's not going to be as much sunshine. And so stay tuned for my full forecast.
Gallia County 911 is currently experiencing phone line issues because of a service outage.
The outage is affecting 911 emergency lines and non-emergency lines for EMS, fire, and law enforcement. A press release from the Gallia County Sheriff says that they are working with their provider to resolve the issue.
If you call the 911 or non-emergency line and get a recorded message or hear static, you can call the numbers on your screen. The Sheriff's Office will announce when the situation is resolved. Austin Powder reveals the cause of Wednesday's chemical leak at their Red Diamond facility in MacArthur, which forced hundreds to evacuate the nearby village of Zaleski.
In a press release, the company said the leak was caused by a rising temperature increasing the 5-gallon storage tank, which then caused the nitrogen oxide gas to be vented through the plant's safety system. The company says it will offer paid time off to affected employees and reimburse employees and community members for expenses related to the leak.
The incident is still under investigation. Austin Power expects the plant to reopen Monday. The international community calls for calm, as Israel says its unprecedented strikes on Iran may not be over, and Iran conducts counter-strikes.
Kieran Kaifa is in Washington with the latest developments and the White House's reaction.
After Israel launched an unprecedented attack on Iran, blasts in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem Friday night. And the Israel Defense Forces said they had identified incoming missiles launched from Iran toward Israel. Iran said via state media Friday night that its retaliation had begun. But observers of the region say the potential for full-scale conflict depends upon their capability to sustain it.
If they actually have the capacity left to be able to respond. I think they have been taken completely by surprise.
Israel launched its first strikes just before sunrise in Iran on Friday. The operation, Israel said, was aimed at stopping Tehran's progress toward developing nuclear weapons, progress Israel sees as a threat. The attacks killed some of Iran's top military leaders and nuclear scientists and struck some of its nuclear facilities. President Trump said on social media Friday that Iran should agree to a nuclear deal, quote, before there is nothing left. One expert says if the intent is to pressure Iran to the negotiating table, it may have the opposite effect.
If it doesn't respond, it loses all credibility, it will be weak, and the Israelis are not going to stop. And so Iran is bound to retaliate, and then President Trump is going to be in a very difficult position managing an escalation.
The Middle East tension sent crude oil prices soaring on Friday, and airline stocks dropped as a number of major global carriers, including Emirates, Lufthansa, and Air France, suspended flights to and from locations in the region. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
After Israel's strike on Iran, oil prices soared. At one point yesterday, prices in the U.S. rose 13% per barrel. That price has fallen for now, but it's still up 5%. The spike is based on fears that a wider conflict in the Middle East could disrupt oil supplies. Analysts say if Iran pulls out of the global market, oil prices could jump by about $7.50 per barrel. That's more than 10% of the current trading price. It could be problematic for President Trump, whose political campaign focused on both lower gas prices and unwavering support for Israel.
A legal battle is underway with President Trump's use of the California National Guard in response to LA protests against immigration raids. While a federal appeal court is allowing the deployment to continue temporarily, protests in LA have been playing out for a week, with more cropping up in cities across the country. Michael Yoshida has the latest.
As anti-ICE protests spring up in cities across the country, the National Guard troops deployed to Los Angeles, along with a Marine battalion, are allowed to remain there at the direction of President Donald Trump for now. A federal appeals court ruling late Thursday paused an earlier decision by a U.S. district judge that declared the National Guard had been unlawfully federalized by Trump. In a Truth Social post, Trump thanked the court and claimed if he didn't send in the Guard, L.A. would be, quote, burning to the ground. We saved L.A. This despite persistent objections from California Governor Gavin Newsom.
The police do policing. Military for the battlefield.
As the battle in the courts continues, so do the protests. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says the nighttime curfew will likely remain in place for a few more days. But the disruption caused by the unrest is now being felt by area businesses.
All you need to do is walk the streets and you can see what's happening, the general sentiment of the fear that lives in our community right now.
Anthony Rodriguez, president and CEO of the LA Fashion District, says there's low foot traffic and storefronts are boarded up in the downtown area that's typically buzzing with customers, vendors, and tourists.
I honestly don't see how we're going to be bounced back from this.
The escalating immigration raids, too, are beginning to take a toll.
People are afraid to get out, because ICE, they've been hearing the rumors that ICE are here, and they don't get out. They're scared.
In Los Angeles, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Washington, D.C. is preparing for President Trump's military parade, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Army. Tomorrow's parade also lands on President Trump's 79th birthday. The whole parade could cost as much as $45 million. More protests are anticipated nationwide over the weekend, but the president says they will be met with force.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest.
The protests, called the No Kings protests, are scheduled for tomorrow all over the country, including towns across southeast Ohio.
More than $9 billion in planned federal spending cuts to foreign aid and public radio and broadcasting are one step closer to happening. Yesterday, House Republicans approved a request from the White House known as a rescission package to claw back federal funding already approved by Congress. The spending cuts would target the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which provides funds for PBS and NPR, and the United States Agency for International Development. The request now heads to the Senate, where its future is uncertain. Only 51 Republicans need to agree, but multiple Republican senators have raised concerns about the spending cuts. This is the first time Congress has formally weighed in on Elon Musk's DOGE cuts. WOUB hosted a special guest at the Ohio Valley Museum of Discovery.
Our Learning Lab partnered with several different community organizations to put on a fun-filled event for kids in Athens. Newswatch reporter Megan Acker got to visit and learn a little bit more about the community members in our neighborhood.
A special tiger took over Athens last weekend. Daniel Tiger of PBS Kids fame came to town, bringing with him a host of friends to encourage kids to stay healthy and safe. Over at the Vision Van, kids could get a quick vision screening.
It's a real quick screening that just says pass or fail. So I can let them know, if it's more urgent, like they really need to get them in, especially before school starts this year.
While over at the OUPD police van, kids learn about how to stay safe and take care of others.
I reviewed everything from safety around swimming pools to what to do when you call 911 and how you can be a good community member.
Kids also got a chance to get creative by climbing on board the Crafty Arts bus, which is filled with art supplies. There was also a kindness card station where kids could make cards to give to community members. And even on the days that Daniel Tiger isn't around, the WOUB Learning Lab has plenty to offer families in Athens.
It can look like community events, partnering with libraries, doing things with after-school programs. We also have educational technology that we lend out to the schools, and we do professional development.
But Daniel Tiger is definitely a crowd favorite.
Do you think you would come back if Daniel Tiger came back?
Yes.
Yes. Are there any other friends you'd want to see?
Catalina Ballerina.
I thought so.
For Newswatch, I'm Megan Acker, reporting in Athens.
A Republican-backed bill to lower property taxes could be a devastating blow to public schools in Ohio. The bill could get rid of inside mileage, the 1% of property tax bill values or local organizations can use without voter approval. Experts say without millage, 20,000 teachers could lose their jobs and that public schools would lose just under $2 billion. Lawmakers say schools could make up the lost funding through income sales tax levies, but officials say majority of school levies failed to pass. The Ohio House unanimously passed a bill aiming to improve school bus safety. House Bill 3, also called School Bus Safety Act, comes after fatal bus crash that killed Aiden Clark, an 11-year-old boy from Springfield, and injuring 20 others in 2023. The bill increases penalties for drivers who illegally pass school buses, loading or unloading passengers. If you violate the law, the bill includes mandated fines and increases the amount of points drivers could get on their license and the amount of time their license could be suspended for. It also allows cameras to be installed into school buses, but the footage can only be used for evidence in violation cases, and establishes the School Bus Safety Fund program to update districts' buses. The bill also will be headed to the Senate.
Abortion rights advocates are expressing their concern over an Ohio bill proposing a 24-hour waiting period for people seeking abortions. The She Wins bill requires doctors to notify patients seeking abortions of the physical and psychological risk at least 24 hours before the abortion pill or procedure. Back in 2023, Ohio voters passed a constitutional amendment protecting access to abortion and other reproductive health care. Lawmakers say the bill does not violate the constitutional amendment because the waiting period is part of informed consent, which is required for all other medical procedures in Ohio. But abortion advocates say the bill requires doctors to give false information as part of that informed consent, which could be dangerous for patients, and that the waiting period will only cause more legal issues. A Franklin County court already stayed an existing Ohio law with an abortion waiting period. Coming up, how a local concert series passed through generations.
And Americans are more hopeful about economy. Why researchers say consumer sentiment is on the rise.
Rain is here for the weekend. See how long it sticks around next.
Can you feel the moment?
The American Revolution changed the world.
Where the story unfolds.
Everybody had the sense of possibility worth fighting for.
What took place here still leaves us in awe.
We can work towards equality together.
Wow, this is the missing piece.
Incredible.
To confront these figures from ancient history is a great privilege.
Our history tells us who we are, where we came from.
And it's all connected.
Like links in a chain.
Like links in a chain, yeah.
All I can do is say thank you.
Wow, this is phenomenal. I'm really grateful for this.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift in your will is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
We've had a nice day here in Athens so far today with highs in the mid 80s, but it has been a little uncomfortable outside because of the humidity. Now, right now we do have clear skies, but that's not going to stick around for very long because of these clear skies, we've been able to heat up a bunch, and that's going to act as a bit of a source of energy for these storms that are going to be in here in the next 12 to 24 hours. Now, taking a look here, it says it's 85 degrees, but if we look at the heat index map, with all this humidity, we're going to start pulling from the Gulf. It's going to really increase the feel of these temperatures, and it's going to feel really uncomfortable over these next few days when it isn't raining. So we'll be watching out for that, as it could get pretty hot. Now, the reason for all of this is this stationary front that is slowly dropping down from the north and moving south, and that's what's going to bring a lot of these showers and this humidity. It's kind of going to act together to create all of this rain that we're going to get. Now, right now, we've started to see the impacts from this. Out to our west, we did have some thunderstorms pop up, but they look to be dissipating before they get to us, so we're just going to be dealing with some pop-up showers for right now. It's when we get into the overnight tonight is where we start to see widespread showers and cooling off a little bit, and that's where a lot of our rain is going to come from. Now, tomorrow morning, we still have a little bit of rain in the area from that widespread burst, but then as we move into tomorrow afternoon, that's when it really sets up. I mean, we're dealing with this all day. And that's when a lot of our rain totals from this weekend are going to be. And now taking a look at tomorrow again, it's going to be a little cooler because there's going to be no sunshine practically, and all this rain is going to help cool off this air big time. So we'll be watching that because it's not going to feel quite as warm as it did today. Now again, taking a look now at Sunday morning, we're going to have a little bit more pop-up showers. It's kind of going to get real heated up when we have these breaks in the clouds, and that's what's going to create these storms. It's kind of going to be like Florida weather, you know, it just gets all heated up and then it just pops here and there. We're just going to have thunderstorms all over the place, but it's not going to be a widespread thing necessarily, especially as we get into Sunday night. So we're going to be watching these thunderstorms throughout the weekend. Now, there's a small chance of flooding in some areas, but not widespread risks. Now, once we get into next week is where we start to see a little bit of a chance of some widespread flooding because all weekend it's going to rain. And then it's just going to add to it. Monday, Tuesday, we have those thunderstorm chances. Just because of all this humidity and energy in the area, we don't really get a break until about Wednesday when we start to see a little bit of clearing heading into the end of the week. So we'll be watching that closely as a lot of rain is supposed to fall over the next week.
So Steve, what does all of this mean for Father's Day weekend? I know there's supposed to be free fishing and so forth.
You know, hopefully we get enough spotting that you could still get out and go take advantage of that, because who doesn't love to go fishing? So hopefully we get lucky, but right now it's not looking great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Steve Nedlick. People of all ages came together to create and take in music on the College Green. Under the Elms opened up the summer once again with their first of 4 concerts. The Under the Elms concert series is back for summer.
Newswatch reporter Talia Milowich has more on the people that make this Athens summer tradition what it is, and a community of connection.
This is the sound of tradition, passed down through generations, through friends and families. All under the elms. A summer concert series that brings people together through music.
My son and his family will be probably joining me here shortly. My wife will be joining me a little bit later. It's a good place to meet people.
King has been a loyal fan of the concert, enjoying music under the elms every summer for around 10 years.
There's fellowship all around.
Loyalty to the concert series isn't just reserved for the audience. Metra Peterson is the daughter of one of the founders of the concert. She's been playing in the band since 1978.
I'm a dutiful child, and I guess I will show up and play my flute.
Peterson, along with Pete Coladas, are the two longest musicians playing in the first show of the year, each committing 40-plus summers to playing with the band.
You know, I asked a few people if it was okay if you was a high school student to play, and they said sure. And I've been doing it ever since.
The concert brings something for everyone, young and old, to appreciate.
Then my son, he really enjoyed sitting on the podium during the concerts, and he would sit there and conduct during the concerts.
Oh, there's a few of the old-timers that are still here, but just a lot of fun.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Talia Milwich, under the elms in Athens.
Coming up, Father's Day is this Sunday. How fathers can take care of their health.
PBS viewers believe that businesses that sponsor PBS on WOUB Public Television have a commitment to quality and excellence. Sponsoring a PBS television program offers your business a unique opportunity to connect with a highly engaged, loyal, and trustful audience in a clutter-free environment, leading to increased brand awareness, positive perception, and potential for higher customer engagement. Your sponsorship is important to the community, and the rewards come back to you in the form of loyal customers. Align your organization with America's most trusted news and public affairs network. WOUB Public Television is worthy of your trust. Contact Corporate Support Director Kathy Malesic at 740-593-4909 or online at woub.org/support.
The Renaissance is endlessly conflicted and violent. And once you start to mix art and money, it's a lethal cocktail.
Michelangelo knows that he is going to be judged.
When it's finished, Leonardo moves to a new level of fame.
Raphael is going to steal Michelangelo's legacy.
Rivalry is embedded within the Renaissance.
It's the greatest spectacle on Earth.
This is a monster. It's a big one.
They'd all disappeared until now.
Americans appear to be feeling more hopeful that they might be in the clear from any of Trump's trade war. A new survey by the University of Michigan shows consumer sentiment surged 16% this month. That's the first increase since December. The change in consumer opinion follows trade tensions that peaked in April. Still, current sentiment is about 20% below December's reading. The Trump administration brokered only a couple of notable trade deals with China and the UK. Dozens of potential deals with other countries have yet to be completed.
Father's Day is just 2 days away, and it's that time of year to celebrate the father figure in your life. Mandy Gaither has more on the 5 top health tips for men.
It's not always on top of the priority list. Fathers and father figures may need a push to focus on their health.
Men in society are expected to be the leaders of their family units, to be strong, not to complain, endure pain, work through it.
Dr. Edward Cartman with El Camino Health in California says stress can take a toll, but there are 5 tips men can use to optimize their health. First, get regular checkups and get screened at each stage of life.
So in their 20s and 30s, be screening for testicular cancers. When they get into their 40s and 50s, start looking at heart disease. In 60s and 70s, looking at cancer risks and screenings.
Next, find ways to manage stress. Cartman says regular exercise is a perfect stress reliever, and it can also help with the third goal, maintaining a healthy body weight. That can help lower risk of heart disease, diabetes, joint pain, sleep apnea, and more. Fourth, Prioritize getting good quality sleep, a key component for both mental and physical health. And finally, Cartman says to make sure your testosterone levels are balanced.
It's an equivalent hormone to estrogen in women. It plays a lot of similar vital roles in terms of bone health, energy, mood, muscle health, just a variety of things. There's studies now coming out showing that a healthy testosterone level is related with a longer lifespan.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Still ahead, Father's Day is great, but it isn't always celebrated nationwide. How Father's Day became a national holiday.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough.
This is our chance to prove ourselves.
Here's to possibilities.
Well, then we best get started.
There's much about me that you don't know.
You're persistent, I'll give you that. You have been busy.
Justice never sleeps.
Every time I see you, there are more of you. And we're even more successful.
You are many things. You're not boring.
Let's not get carried away. We are going to do this together. I'm really impressed.
We're looking for 3 tons of gold.
It's murder. We have a match.
Probably just coincidence.
Nope.
There's never a dull moment.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
I am always here to serve and to listen. The good Reverend, love 'em and leave 'em. I want to find someone like you found Kathy.
Help! Please!
Everyone who witnessed a murder today, hands up.
Deep, dark secrets. We all have those.
There is something else you should know. What is this? This is who I am.
A new season of Grantchester on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
This weekend, it's time to say thanks to Dad because Sunday is Father's Day. It will also mark 115 years since the first Father's Day, which was first celebrated in 1910 in Washington State. But it took until 1972, decades after Mother's Day came into existence, that dads got their nationwide holiday in the U.S. Americans plan to spend a record $24 billion on the holiday. The National Retail Foundation says nearly half of people will buy a gift for a dad or a stepfather. So, Courtney, Boogie on the Bricks, where are you planning on going this weekend?
I'm going to be boogieing to go get an umbrella. That's where I'm going to be. What about you, Steve?
You know, I'm heading out of town, but I know if you want to catch maybe a baseball game tonight with the Copperheads, tonight may be the night to do it because the rest of the weekend's looking like kind of a wash. So as for tonight, scattered showers for the most part until we get into the overnight hours, and that's when a lot of widespread rain is going to come into our area. We're going to have an overnight low of 66, and then here comes the widespread rain. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We got rain all over the place. So we don't see any clearing until about the midweek next week. So it looks to be a washout, unfortunately, for Father's Day weekend. But hopefully we can get some spots of sunshine so we can enjoy Father's Day weekend.
Thanks for that wet reminder, Steve. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick, Megan Acker, and Talia Malowich, I'm Abigail Semple.
And I'm Courtney Smith. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
This is